All right, I've got 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting tonight, the finance committee together. Welcome those new members with us here tonight. Good to have our first meeting here in this case. It looks like we are all present. I'm glad to see that for sure. First piece here we've got, or if you will, review the minutes from the October 16th meeting. Miss Amy has been gracious enough to do those minutes for us, and we appreciate it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve the minutes as written. Second by Mr. Ford. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Like I said a minute ago, this is our first meeting. We will do the elections at this time. And then after we do that, those elections, we'll need to look at our subcommittee for the 5-member committee that comes out of this for the purchasing subcommittee.
I would like to make a motion to keep all officer election, all the officers the same as they are. Mr. Gully is chair, Mr. Gregory is vice chair, Ms. Thomas is secretary.
Second.
Have a motion and second in that we're out. Any discussion on that motion and second? Seeing none, we could enter into a vote there at this point, or we could, if any other movement whatsoever. All right, if not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Miss Amy, I hope you were okay with that. I sort of listened to see if she was gonna say, wait a minute, y'all. Minutes are very important. You've heard me say that before, but they are truly the record going forward, what happened. And we do have to call on those minutes from time to time. So, moving forward with that, the next piece, we have some options here. I know the subcommittee, the purchasing subcommittee, which is a 5-member, that looks at purchasing every quarter. How we go about that, we've got some options, as I said. I know we could leave what was on it, we could redesign it, but we got to put 5 members of this body on that committee at this point. So, my initial thoughts, I know Mr. Beller mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, and a route to go would be to leave the original 5 that were on the budget if we want to go that route. If we don't, I care not which route we go. That's our options. We just got to nominate 5 people, one way or the other.
I'll make a motion to nominate the 5.
I'll second that motion.
A motion and a second to let the 5 that were originally on budget last year, I think is the way that was, and without the additions on the purchasing. Do I hear any discussion towards that? Okay, if not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So that will set that piece out. We'll figure out how exactly we're gonna handle that in a couple of weeks when quarterly comes up. I guess we'll see that back in January, so we'll figure that one from there. All right. I will like to add, I forgot to ask Miss Amy to add to the agenda under financial statements, under your C. We got A, B, and we're gonna add a C, which will be the school's quarterly financial statement, if that be all right with everybody. But Dr. Satterfield has brought those. I know they've been asked to be, and I got in touch with him last couple weeks ago, and he's made it here tonight, and I forgot to have it added to the agenda. So he's got the school quarterly reports, which are part of our budget approval. I guess that was approved in 2020, 21, something like that. We got to present quarterly. So he does have those tonight. I forgot to add it to the agenda though. When we get to see, Dr. Satterfield said he has some paperwork he passed to us. If you will, looking at the trustees' cash balance statements. Next couple pages there, we will look first at the trial balance sheet. You will notice some of the discussion we had. I know I talked with Miss Amy here just a while back. 11-301. Where am I? 301. There we go. If you'll look at 301 and 302, Those are that is two $500,000 CDs with money that has been moved that way, has been taken care of. They're on I think they're 6 months, if I read that correctly. It was sent to us the other day. If the original members, I don't know if all members received, an email, last week's, maybe, did everybody receive that? I don't know who all it went to. I didn't look, see, all right. So you saw that it's a 6 month CD, with $1 million on it right now. That was some of that discussion from our October meetings. Mr. Dennis, I appreciate you bringing that to the table. That money right now is much, 450 on 6 months seems like a really, really nice interest rate.
Is that what that was for?
It's on 4.50, 301 and 302 there.
I see.
Mhm. Mr. Ford?
What about it? Meet with you seniors about this. Earlier in the month, we were about giving the, I think most of you got a copy of this.
That's,
Did you not get that?
yes, sir.
The big problem that she said she had is going to sue us right here, sons and all. I don't mind investing in you, but just guessing game for me unless you give me the input. She can't do it, unless Hank and Angie cover it for me. And she talked like, if she had an estimate of her monthly bills, that she probably could invest more. But she needs, pull back enough every month to cover the bills.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's something that is easily done, I don't know. If you know about what you're gonna have to pay your bills or whatever,
It varies every month.
but you could put you some extra in there and cover it. She said if she had that, she could invest more. And like the school money that you're talking about, that didn't get invested because she didn't know what it was, or when it was gonna start paying out. But it turns out they don't start using till March.
I was fixing, have you heard that number? Okay, March. I think there's been some, Dr. Sackler is here if we want to maybe talk, but I had heard that March might be a time that the bid is let.
But Angie needs to know the same thing, if she gets money in like that, and it can be invested, or interest rate is now, it may not money. We got 6 million, well, from
They
July,
cannot stay.
it means somewhere around $350,000.
Understood. I think
A lot of money.
it's good to see moving in the direction we're moving.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see $1 million is sitting there on drawing that interest at this point in time. I know I had to ask, and I think if I understand that correctly, that interest will move towards the 151
Mhm.
debt service is where it will go into, which was an original goal. Mr. Dennis brought up when we were securing those couple loans there, we draw that amount of interest while the money's sitting there for us. And it cuts down on what we're actually paying in interest if we think about that piece. So hopefully that's money that can be reinvested 6 months from now, or a portion of it anyway.
That kind of money sells on the tax rate,
Yes, sir.
when you figure about 34,000 pennies.
Yes, sir.
Over 100,000, it's about 3 cents, so if we get 350, that's 3.9, that's nearly 11 cents a day. That's pretty good.
It is.
I don't know how long it will last, but it's a good beginning.
Any other discussion on the trial balance?
Mr. Chair. The second one from the top 202,
That's mislabeled.
and that's new money as well.
I believe it is. I do not know exactly what that is.
And then the 204, that's new money as well. We've put the 1.9 in work.
I'll try to find out exactly what those are for us. that would total up to the dollar we're talking about right here. Any other discussion on the trial balance? If not, moving into the quarter, into our, sorry about that. Financial summaries, October, we're looking at a third of the way through the budget. Looking at the 101 general. First off, looking at revenues. Seems a lot of folks took the 2% off on their property tax. I guess they didn't look at the 6 month CD options.
It's 140 on zoning service. One of the sections of the
I will have to,
Miss Myhan is here if she would like to address that.
before,
Yes,
Just-
200%.
permit numbers, or is that the new zoning cost for rezoning?
What number is that?
That's what I want to address before we open the door.
Just a few rezonings come forward.
Right, but the rezonings have gone up largely in cost.
Only over
They have.
1,000.
How much, I don't have the figures in front of me, how much are you seeing that you have there?
The budget, 500 is actual violation. In zoning studies.
That would be correct, yes.
What I'm sort of trying to say is, I don't think we adjusted that line item and we raised the cost to have a rezoning. Is everybody hearing what I'm saying there in this case? That's what I was trying to get to there a second ago. We raised the cost, if you remember back in July, we go back and find
The first of
the
May.
fee, 1st of May, okay?
First of May is the increase.
So the increase right there would be what we're seeing here. That line item will probably be, it would be off of what we had, $100, I believe was the original, and that you can go see that scale now, it's changed quite a bit. That's where we're looking at there. So it does jump out to us, but there's a why. Doesn't necessarily indicate a lot of new rezonings, just indicates a new cost for the rezoning.
Thank you.
Any other discussion there on revenues? I would like to say I appreciate Miss Amy adding the what each place includes there. A couple spots she's broke down and give us what those include, especially on the other services, conference places. So that looks nice to have. Mr. Ford.
You look at 44,110. You can see where the interest was already going. The first month, we had 40,000 budgeted, it's already $74,349, and that's 3 months.
Yes, sir. Not including the new monies that have just been moved truly. They were drawing 75 hundredths of a percent prior to their now drawing 450 there, 4.50. So gives us an understanding of where we are. It is nice to see right now. Not something to, I would hope we could count on it for a while, but not something I would expect to ride.
Another one I would ask about 47,620. Police service in the lake area, we have budgeted 371,600. If we're not showing anything against that.
That, I'm sorry, there's a line that's off, scoot all those numbers down one. Cause that tax credit bond rebate, it should be the 371. I'll have to go back and look at that and I'll send you out, a new report.
So clear me up, where are we sliding down? Where is the off?
Um,
Cause it looks correct at 46,390. That would be the,
actually, no, it needs to go.
I think it's misspelled something.
The police service should be the 5,500, I'm sorry, and then other state revenues is that 371. There must be a new number that shifted everything.
so you're saying the police service, the lake area. I was about to say, I don't think we budgeted $370,000 to
Not that,
police at the
No.
lake.
no,
uh,
that's 371 should be under other state revenues.
Yeah, Miss Amy believes that should be under state revenue. Other state revenue should be the 371, so it's one line item. Off there, so somewhere from 46,390, there's a shift that's happened.
The 990. 46,990.
Did you shift
Yeah.
right here?
I will look
You think
that
when you
up.
added that in?
Having to transpose from a report that's all jumbled to this is a little tedious.
Mhm. While Miss Amy's looking for that piece, if there's nothing else in the revenue side, let's move in expenditures of the 101.
Um, 56,300 down there.
Mhm.
It's senior citizen assistance. 58.8%.
What's the question? Mhm.
Is that what we did there?
There's a lot of one-time fees and there's the building that we did last month.
Knowing what comes out of what line item there. What was that, a $6,000 building or so?
Let's see.
Might have been 8,000 in that total. There was some work inside too.
Mhm.
I didn't- That answer your question?
Yes,
Going back to the revenues, that 371 is actually an ARPA funding. It's for the health department.
The 370.
We did a budget amendment for that last month.
46,370.
47,406. It's not in there. It's a line item that should have been in there and that would have made all the numbers line up correctly. Like I said, I'll send out the report so it'll make complete sense to y'all.
47,406.
Mhm.
874. There should have been a line item right above police service, police service at the lake, which was 47,406. Which was the funding for the healthcare, for the give me a second here, health department, there we go. The building construction at the health department. Thank you. Is that clear, everybody there? Which got line shifted off, that didn't get added, but the numbers, so they can show where they were. Continuing. In the 101. Under expenditures.
what about the miscellaneous top of the page?
If you, it shows under, it includes contributions and nonprofits. Those nonprofits are paid out as soon in July, as soon as the budget's.
Okay.
There's about 5 or 6. I'd have to go back and look. Nonprofits we do, that we budgeted this year again. I think we added one this year. Can't remember what one, but I know we added one. Say it again.
Fixed trials.
Fixed trials that was added to it. So I think it was 5, now it's 6. It might have been 4 and it's 5, but that's about where we are. Good to see that number coming in right about where you would expect it, even with some one-time payouts that have gotten that a little off. That park grant throws things off too. If you'll notice that 88% there on that one, that's throws some numbers when you're talking about $1 million number. 1.2 there, that starts to,
And that's mainly the purchase order for the equipment.
all right, moving into 111 urban service. Looks to be moving really well in urban service. Any questions there? $116. Any discussion on 116? Expenditures and revenues look pretty strong there.
So that's a truck, that is a backhoe.
That goes on the bottom.
Well, yes, but that's your revenue.
So. Good one. That came out of these total expenses.
Mhm.
118 ambulance.
Oh,
We generally will have a breakdown on the ambulance. We don't have that one in this one, but we'll try to make sure we have it on the next one. Which on that January, it's a good time to look at it 6 months into that piece. Where are we? I know some of the PRN had been started to be used in the last, in October as we looked at it. I've got those in here. If we need to, anybody ask a question on those? Looks like it's doing pretty well. Coming in under where it should be at this time. That's always good to see. We'll get that breakdown to you. She probably, Miss Amy said she'd email it out to us. We can look through it if you have any questions between now and Monday.
And is that labor still with the board?
I'm sorry?
Labor.
Is the labor still
Oh.
with the board?
Yes, sir.
As we said, you're gonna see overtime because that's one that has overtime. Yes, sir. 121 is a pass through. That's the core civic money. We truly, even though there's a fee that they pay us, that is on a different side. This just passes through the Charles County's account. 122 is pretty much the same thing. It shares funds off of, as you see. He's not spending, he generally will spend money out of that towards the end of the year when buying certain things of that nature. It kind of sits there somewhat like a savings account, I guess you'd say. 151 debt service. Fortunately, we don't have to look at the changing interest rates, since that's been taken care of this year. County's in a pretty good spot right now, debt. We do know we have a debt coming our way. As we said earlier, that interest off of, the monies in the trustees' cash balance, as she was stating, will be rolling into debt service. 131 highway fund. Highway department always does a pretty good job with their money. You all receive a monthly update in the mail as well. So. Any questions anywhere there? 141.
long as the tuition. Let me make sure I'm reading. Regular day,
Something's off on that. No, sorry.
the
43,
43,511.
511. Dr. Satterfield?
Yes.
It's stated in here on the 141 tuition regular day was budgeted at $4,500. It's coming in at 24,600. Currently. What was the question?
Tuition typically would be from our leads after school program. The big things from that.
Would that be the other or the regular?
I don't have what you were looking at.
Budgeted 4,500, but then after 20, is that out of county tuition fee?
No, that's, that would be minuscule, that outcome is within like. Six or something. It's more than like that, I have to look at it, but it's coming from the leaders after school. What they do is typically they get a budget around $110,000, but then that budget costs more to run that, so she'll have tuition fees in a reserve account, and then she'll bring that over to offset the revenue that she needs to run that program. I don't know that for sure. I can look that up tomorrow, but I would say that that is tuition funds from the league's after school program. Typically, that's what they do.
We'll get an answer back and get that to y'all. That'd be the best route to email something out, know where it's from. Any other discussion?
511, is that right?
Yes, sir.
That'd be the same on his. I think 43,511 and 43,517 sounded to be tuition fees. What are those? Dr. Satterfield, you also had some paperwork. Now we're ready for that C part. That is the financial statements at this point. We do from time to time. If anyone would like to make a motion on, sending those in as favorable that we've seen through the budget, looked at the pieces, everybody's good with it, we certainly can. We do that from time to time, one way or the other. It doesn't matter to me. I do kind of like having we've gone through the trustees balance, cash balance, and we've said, hey, these look good.
How much?
This is as of September.
This is quarterly report. Beginning with the fiscal year FY24. This is for the first 3 months of July, August, and September. So we're about 25%, exactly 25%. Through the budget year. I guess on the revenue side, the main thing to look at is 4110 is current property tax. And then you see the first column is what's budgeted. And then we brought in 38,591 at this time. Of course, we know that I had to pay the taxes by when it needs to be.
February 15th.
So we'll see that growth as it comes along. You can see 40161 TVA payments, and we haven't received any of that revenue yet. So we anticipate that coming. Looks like we'll get a little bit more on the Windows tax. And then y'all asked about the regular day. We budgeted $6,000 for that. I'll check that out. That question that you had.
The
other big,
that's different. Oh, Dr. Sutherland, that
That's
tuition,
October.
yeah, but the budgeted amount shouldn't have changed. This is showing, 6,000. We'll have to figure out what's up there. So,
that's what we budgeted, anticipated to receive.
right, but our, the one we've got in our financial shows 4,500. That's why I'm trying to see what difference is there. So we'll have to figure out where that.
Figure that out.
Yes,
Okay.
That's why I'm wondering if the 43,517 is not the leaks.
The 43, what, 517,
Yes, sir.
and it could be, I don't know what she's receiving.
that's something we'll definitely get.
But the other big, revenue stream is, 46,510, and that's Tennessee Investment Student Achievement, which was formerly BP, now called TISA. At the time of this printing, after the quarterly report, we had received 2 payments at that point, which is about $2 million. We received 10 of those. We received those over 10 months. The other thing down at the bottom is important to look at is 48, 130, and 49, 100. And those are contributions and bonds. That is the elementary roof and the renovation to the field house, that project. And those monies have not been spent yet, except for the architectural fees. So what that'll show, I think is important, is you look at the year-to-date actual is $4,273,334 and some odd cents. But if you take that 1.9 million that hasn't been utilized yet, that actual is really reading 2,373,334. So that number that you see in black is kind of misleading. And then you can look at your expenditures, which go right along with the budget. Everything's moving well on that. And then turn the page. You see there's a large percentage on 72,310. That's because of workers' comp. Insurance fees are paid at the very beginning of the year, about $67,000. And then office of the principal, of course, they're on 12-month contracts, so they're paid sooner than teachers. And then operation plant 72,610, that's used a little bit because of contents and liability, which is over $110,000 there. And then if you look again at the regular capital outlay, where that roof, the field house renovation, and then we also built the greenhouse, but that was with state money, but it still runs the 141. That greenhouse, I hope you've seen that. If you haven't, you can drive by and look at it. It looks good. But that's running about $220,000 plus that's going into that 3.4 million. But if you go ahead and look at total expenditures, it says there is $2,344,496, and you take the $1.9 million from the revenue side, then those two numbers would be running within $30,000 of one another. So what I'm saying is our budget is running quite well right now, it's balanced. The only thing that's not on here is that you need to be aware of that we're growing, You had to figure that out. And one of the things is we had to hire a part-time nurse at elementary school because of the volume of needs of students. We are just hiring another educational assistant to put it in the middle school, again, to meet the needs of students. Our bus this year was $30,000 more than it was at the same time last year. And then our health insurance, just like y'all saw a 6% increase. So we're running balanced right now. We have some needs that we're trying to navigate. Hopefully the cost of fuel is going down, and that helps on our utilities and our bus services and stuff as well. Now, I'm trying to answer any questions that you may have.
Question.
I'll say,
Payment in lieu of taxes, TBA, is that ever covered in your mind?
I do not know, I mean, I'm like Jimmy, I take what you give me, so whenever they say, I take, you know.
Oh.
I don't know exactly when it comes in.
I asked Miss Amy, she said she thinks that payment's in May. Comes in May.
But
Yearly.
that will help that
So
budget
they have
too.
any deadline, is it going to stop on these days?
Oh, does it have a date when that, I got you.
You know,
We've been getting it rolled out.
I like it. Any other questions? Let me know. Man, we'll sneak out here in a few minutes, so. There's a big ball game. On the 17th.
So where we stand on the new field house, we're talking about building?
We are definitely just in the planning stages now. Our architect is working on the architectural plans for the elementary roof, trying to get all the. There's no blueprints anywhere that tell us where those joists go. So they've got to take that new roof and tie into those existing joists. So they've had to spend some time finding them and getting architectural plans to know how to attach that roof. So that's been a while. And we're trying to get that done first. And then, but he's also working on the field house as well. We've done a geotechnical survey on that. And we've also done property line survey on that. So we're moving, I think Mr. McCall calls it the speed of development, I guess, you know, we run it at kind of that speed, but we're moving, but it's not moving as fast as I'd like for it to do the best. We are moving forward. And I heard Mr. Gully saying, I talked to him. Not only to it, but we are trying our best to have architectural plans and bid documents ready by March. And that may take another month, but we're pushing for March to have bid documents.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions before you leave? Okay, thanks, sir.
Hey, Ryan.
I would take, like I said, a motion to approve financial statements.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve, financial statements. In other words, we're just giving a favorable, we've gone through them as we send these on. Any discussion to that motion? I know we do have two pieces we want some questioning on. I think I wrote on through here. One of those, I think Ms. Amy pretty much answered for us. But she'll send that out to us and then we'll find out about the tuition pieces, in the, school's budget. If no discussion, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Any opposed? Motion carries favorable. We will move into, our budget amendments. We do have a couple. You'll see a couple of these, first two coming from the 101. Okay, is that what that's split? Okay. We'll move with the first two there under the 101 coming out of County General. The community development grant for housing there in this case, and then that's a grant, and both these are grants, so we could when they come up next week, we can just look at those together. There's not even make a motion to move those favorable from here. I've got a second from Mr. Cawthon. Any discussion further? If not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Mr. Ford, just to make sure I was clear there, and I should have done this beforehand, that was just on the housing, correct? Okay. Looking at the federal grant here, emergency performance grant. This is a annual grant from Homeland Security. You'll see the EMA travel and EMA staff developments, what this is being proposed to move to. It's grant money. Got a motion by Mr. Ford to approve. Got a second by Mr. Cawthon. All those, any discussion? Let's write that again. All those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion does carry. You'll see the next one is the LEAPS program. Dr. Sheffield mentioned that earlier. That's the after-school program. So that's that, you'll see that program go from about 2:45 to 5:30, I believe, is when the let out time of that is.
Can we take that one and the next one together?
They're both grants. We sure can. Yep, they're both grants.
I'll make a motion to approve both.
Make a motion to approve both. Second, Mr. Cawthorn there. Any discussion? All those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion does carry favorable. Your next one is, youth at risk, survey. Funds provided to the high school for administering the annual youth risk behavioral survey. Have a motion and second, Mr. Ford. All those, any discussion? All those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye.
Following up on the previous discussion. Yeah, that's looking at paychecks.
I got you. I think we're still. The next item that was on here, that accounting staff, I know it had been asked for by for an additional employee. I think we've talked about some of those pieces. I think that one is still more in discussion and trying to learn what the cost will be if we move to a payroll system that is time clocked, if I understand that correctly. So we still haven't come up with any of that information at this time, I don't think. Is that correct? I haven't seen any. No, we have.
I don't know if Mayor wants to take this or if he wants me to talk about it.
He agreed with me that it was on time clock. Yeah. Mayor, is there anything you want to add to that accounting staff piece at this time?
I could see that when we look at the paychecks, it was talked about $44,000 a year with no guarantees it would go up on a yearly basis. And our staff would still be responsible for inputs from time to time. And so our thinking was that we might make that need a part-time person, rather than a full-time person. And it would be make more financial sense than going to paycheck. Because of
Hey, if you will, as you come in, please be quiet. I did not hear you, I'm sorry.
the initial cost of the paycheck system. Amy, but 44,000.
It was closer to 55. It was closer to 55,000 and there was some,
Guarantees,
correct.
depending on how many bills and what's the added to it.
That was just for the time clock system,
No.
That was just a payroll system.
payroll
That
system,
was the
gotcha.
whole thing.
And our thinking was it would be more cost effective since our staff's gonna be making all the inputs, making all the corrections. It made more sense to just look for a part-time person to help with that. I think that would be more cost effective.
That's something that can wait till the next budget year, is that something that needs to be done? So,
You still have your backup with payroll. This point, you don't have a backup person.
Who was that backup person?
It's Vicky, which you,
So the individual that took Vicky's job is not up to doing that for us?
at this point, she's still in training, just to cover the job.
Y'all have the piece in front of us. Discussions, what it is at this time. Have we gotten any further with discussion of a, time clock system?
Before y'all asked us to look into a third party, we were already in talks for time clocks. If you are okay with us going ahead and ordering that, we can have that in place in January or February. It was already in the budget.
Um,
We couldn't order this company's time clocks if you guys wanted us to go with this other one.
Gotcha. Do we know what that time clock system is? Is this a computerized system? Is this a punch a number in? What are we looking
It's
at?
however the location wants to handle it. Say for the administration building, yes, we can log in through our desktops. Convenience center, there would be a fingerprint kiosk for them to do that. It just depends on the location. And it does already incorporate with the My Benefits channel that we already utilize.
Interesting. I think that's something we need to, Mr. Dennis, you have something to say?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the time clock system from the standpoint of having to go back and verify. I mean, how much time is the individual having to go back and verify time, like the calculation time, in order to run payroll? And will buying this new software or piece of equipment, will that cut down the workload of the person that's having to do that currently?
In a perfect world, we hope so. When we move over to a time clock system, a lot of responsibility will be on your department heads and elected officials. We're not going to argue anymore. We're done.
So that being said, the time clock system in and of itself may take the place of a part-time person that we're looking at, or
Not necessarily.
is it needed on top of the anticipated time savings that we're looking at?
So as I said, it was already in the budget. We would still ask for a part-time payroll clerk. The person that's currently doing payroll is also doing accounts payable, and it's accounts payable to become a full-time 40+ hour position already. Payroll is adding another 10 hours to that.
My understanding, this will push back, this new time clock will push back more to the department heads or to the supervisors overseeing that they will have to write the justification and explain to them instead of Amy and Renee reaching out to them and constantly not getting a response or whatever.
Correct.
And this is just from discussion from audit committee. I think the time clock, from what I'm seeing, is needed. And I think we need to move forward with it. Now, as for the assistant, there still needs to be an assistant because they need a backup. If Amy's sick or Renee's sick, you have nobody to take care of that. You have no backup there. That's just my opinion. I mean, do we want a motion to move forward with these time clocks? Because this is something that really needs to be done.
I think myself on the time clock conversation, I would like to see it be similar of how each department is gonna sign in. It'd be nice to have a plan there before we completely say, hey, let's move forward.
Understand?
That we've set into play, here's what's gonna be expected of each place.
Well, and the whole system is, what is it called? Geolocating. I don't know. You have to be in a certain place in order to clock in. You cannot just do it from your phone at the house. It will clock where you are.
I personally like the biometric part of it because that means no one else can key you in, so nothing can be falsified.
Are we ready for a motion then to move forward with? It's already been budgeted, correct?
Correct.
And that needs to move on into a different place. That would be in commission. It's already been budgeted, it's been put in the budget to move that way, that's commission. Moving from there then, other. Mayor, I understand maybe there's something under other we wanted to discuss.
Couple things, I promised the board that we would have a job posted for building inspector, but I wanted to run a couple of three figures by budget committee before we went into that. Sam was making, or Mr. Everett was making somewhere in the neighborhood of $44,000, but he requested not to take raises, which his salary would have probably been at this point in the high fifties, low sixties, that he continued to accept his raises. Currently in the budget, Mrs. Milan is receiving a current salary of $33,860 with a one-time supplement of $2750. We have $35,500 in the budget to use state inspectors this year, and we've used them at a rate of about $2,000 a month or $100 per inspection. And there's $9,500 in that budget for Mr. Gregory to work with codes and zoning. So the money that's available in that budget is about $80,000. My question to the budget committee is, when we post this job, what do you want the starting salary? You want to, I'm not sure if we post it at large, at $60,000. Will attract a lot of people that are qualified, but that's kind of this committee is what you want to do. So this presently, Mrs. Myhan is going out in the field doing inspections. She's done 156 inspections to date. She has obtained her ICC residential building inspector certification and has earned 77 hours, educational hours. And at this point, we have no additional office help. So at some point in time, if we hire an official inspector, we'll have to have some office support. So what amount would you like to see this job posted? No question.
Mayor,
And once that job is posted, if she qualifies for that job, her salary can be raised to that amount. Yes, sir.
you said 2,000 a month is what it's costing us to use state inspectors?
Up to this point. There, is that right? Amy?
That's $24,000 a year. That sounds really cheap to me. Can we not just continue using state inspectors?
Sorry.
Can we not continue using state inspectors?
I know that one inspector that's done a lot of this work said it was a temporary thing for him. I can't answer that question as far as we continue to use other inspectors. Comments, questions? Input, advice, suggestions? You want to restructure the office, that's also an option.
Well, with the 24,000 using them as a state inspector, maybe current salary come up to,
Hey, hang on just a second, y'all. I appreciate you. If you want to raise your hand, we'll talk.
I raised the cost at the same time.
I understand, but until you've been heard. Yes, ma'am. We're not gonna get into that here, y'all. Sorry. If we want to go outside the committee, we will. That's fine. But I'll ask the committee before we go outside in that case first.
Oh,
Okay.
I think that we need to see if there's an option for us to use the state inspectors. Maybe the one particular we've been using is looking at it as a part-time, but I mean, for that price, even if it was even, say, $1,000 more a month, that would still be saving us a lot of money.
So are you thinking in terms of having an office manager and then using state inspectors?
Yes, sir. That's kind of like what I'm looking at. Mhm.
At that price.
I would like to see if that would be possible, if we could do that
What's the job?
before. Yes, sir.
Okay, the other item I have, Mr. Chairman, is that, the possibility of getting a resolution to support or approve the submission of a connected community facilities application. This is a broadband grant that's available to Travis County for the purpose of building a new building or renovating an older building to make access to the public for broadband, office space, And Mid-Cumberland, workforce development. The grant is for $2 million. We're looking at the possibility of locating a board school. At the beginning, it was a matching grant of 20%, but they lowered that to 10%, which means the grant would be $2 million with a match of 200,000. There's a building in Sumner County, I think it's called Shalom, where they've taken a former black high school, and they're using Mid-Cumberland Head Start, Mid-Cumberland Transportation, number of rental spaces, retail spaces. We'll see it tomorrow. If we receive the grant, it would not automatically mean we had to accept it. But I want you to be aware of and possibly pass a resolution that says if we get this grant to pass, that we can actually fund the 10%. This is separate and apart from the 8 acres at Ward School, which we still look in a brownfield grant to turn it into a nature trail. So, and the point, this particular grant will qualify for a lot of extra points because it is designated as historical site. So it has all kinds of possibilities. Yes, sir.
When does this need to be funded?
The deadline for the grant to be in is December 11th. They raised it from November 15th to December 11th. And just this week, they lowered the patch from 20% to 10%. I don't know if we would have to get creative to possibly receive part of the money from urban funds or from ARPA money. That's up to this committee to decide what to do with it. I can remember when we were doing the playground, the former chairman said it's always a good deal if you get $2 for one. This is $9 for one. So it's a great opportunity to create a business center that all the county needs. I'd like your input on whether or not to bring that resolution to the court. Just to pursue the grant, not to pass it, not to fund it, but to pursue the grant and see it. Any questions? Yes, sir.
If you get the building, you're gonna have to hire somebody. Start doing it.
You know, and that's what they do at the Shalom Center. They have an executive director that runs it. They have retail space which creates income for that particular facility. So yeah, that's a great question. It's been addressed.
So I think what we're asking here from this body is their recommendation to pursue this grant, knowing that we would have to take on $200,000 of coverage there, at most, is what it says. $2 million grant for 10%, be 200,000. Is there a motion from this body to pursue that grant? No guarantees we get it, but we would be saying, hey, if we're gonna pursue it, we're saying we're gonna find $200,000 to put into that grant.
I think we need to make a motion.
You're making a motion to pursue?
Yes.
Got a motion and a second to pursue that grant? Any discussion further on that? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Any opposed? We're not spending money, so we can just do a vote that way, so it's just fine. It does pass. At this case, I think we have time for public comments. Anybody want to speak? If not, we reach that next portion where it says adjourn. Anybody give us a motion to adjourn? Got a motion to and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. We are adjourned. Thank you all.